Heartwarming truth revealed, Housekeeper discovers Billionaire's shocking plan to expose Fiancée. Maria wiped sweat from her brow, her worn hands gripping the dust cloth as she stepped into the penthouse that sparkled like a diamond in the sky. The opulence of the room took her breath away, chandeliers flickered in the sunlight, casting playful shadows across the marble floors. Day after day, Maria scrubbed homes in bustling Chicago suburbs, each swipe a dedicated effort to send money back to her family in Mexico. But today, as she dusted a shadowy shelf, her heart raced. Behind a row of glittering trophies, she discovered a hidden folder. Curiosity urged her eyes to peek inside. What she saw froze her to the spot: plans crafted with cold detail meant to expose billionaire James Sinclair's glamorous fiancée. She felt the walls around her narrow as the lavish environment collided violently with her reality of humility and hard work. Amidst the chaos of her mind, Maria thought of her community, the elderly veterans across the street who relied on her friendship and care. She cherished their stories, the laughter shared over cups of coffee, the warmth in their eyes as they reminisced about their youth. In her world of sacrifice, kindness was currency, and she stood by them fiercely. The weight of the hidden folder pulled at her conscience. Should she share this news with James? Yet she questioned herself. Was it right to destroy the life of a woman she didn't know? A life perhaps also filled with struggle. With every minute that passed, the air thickened with tension, threatening to suffocate her as she grappled with the moral dilemma laid before her. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Determined but trembling, she approached James, who was lost in thought behind a wall of glass overlooking the city. The shock in his eyes was palpable as she explained the contents of the folder. He stepped back, disbelief dancing on his handsome features. Reading between the lines of his guarded expression, she saw flickers of betrayal, his trust shattered, raw emotions spilling out. He explained the actions he planned to take, all were born from a past shaped by secrets and lies. Suddenly, Maria's heart ached, not just for him but for the woman in the folder. It wasn't right for anyone to bear such a weight. As the elderly veterans began to notice her distant demeanor, she understood they were not just spectators, but custodians of resilience, longing for her return. In this moment, Maria realized her path forward would not just affect her but also ripple throughout her community. They believed in her strength, her voice. Torn between protecting this unfamiliar woman and seeking justice for James, Maria felt as if the fate of her journey depended on this very moment. With every beat of her heart, she resolved to foster understanding, a chance for growth instead of vengeance. Would James listen, or would the allure of revenge ensnare him deeper into the darkness? The air thickened with expectation, leaving a lingering question in the air: could forgiveness truly bridge their worlds? The silence hung heavy in the air, charged with the weight of unspoken words. Maria took a deep breath and stepped closer to James, whose face was a tapestry of turmoil. "James," she began, her voice steady despite the tremors in her heart, "before you make any decisions, we should think this through." He turned to her, his blue eyes searching her face for answers, for solace. "What do you mean? This woman has been lying to me. I can't just stand by while she continues her deceit." His voice cracked, a mix of pain and outrage spilling out. "But what if she has her own reasons?" Maria implored. "What if something pushed her into this? We don't know her story." The thought of this unknown woman living in shadows of her own stirred compassion within her. James clenched his jaw, the debate within him was evident. He was teetering on the edge of his emotions, confused between the past that haunted him and the present that threatened to explode. "You don't understand, Maria. I have been betrayed before. I can't let it happen again." His hands balled into fists, the anger simmering just beneath the surface. This wasn't just about James. Maria couldn't help but think about her own life, the sacrifices she'd made for her family, the quiet fortitude that kept her standing. What if confronting her means bringing hurt to someone who may be hurting already? Her heart raced with the urgency of her plea. We can break the cycle, James. You have the power to choose a different path. You could bring compassion into it. He paused, allowing her words to sink in. The turmoil in his expression softened, but the fire of pain still flickered behind his eyes. Compassion? After everything? He shook his head, looking away as if the very idea itself was a betrayal. Yes. Maria felt her voice rise with fervor. You chose to be here, in this moment, when you could easily dismiss it all. That says something about you. Maybe it's time to take a chance, to believe in the possibility of change. She wanted him to see that their intersection was not just by chance but a moment meant for healing. The bustling city below them continued its daily rhythm, oblivious to their personal storm. Maria saw the distant glare of headlights and felt a deep sense of connection to those she had served over the years. Every choice mattered, rippling out like the waves on the lake when a stone is thrown. James finally turned back towards her. Uncertainty danced in his eyes, and in that moment, Maria saw the flicker of a choice waiting to be made. You've given this so much thought, haven't you? He murmured, his voice almost a whisper. She nodded, her heart pounding with hope. Let us find her together. Let us open a door instead of slamming it shut. This could be an opportunity for all of us to grow. For a fleeting moment, the tense atmosphere shifted, and the idea of unity seemed to breathe life into them both. But the tension returned as James remained silent, caught in the crossfire of his thoughts. Will you trust me? Maria asked softly, her eyes pleading. Let us reach out, not just for you, but for all of us. He took a deep breath, his features still tight but his heart visibly conflicted. The clock seemed to tick louder, each second a reminder of the decision looming before him. Okay, he finally said, almost too low for her to hear. I'll think about it. Maria felt a surge of relief that washed over her, but it still came with uncertainty. Could this glimmer of hope lead to healing for all of them? As they stood together, the weight of their intertwined fate settled upon them. She couldn't shake the sense that this was just the beginning. There was so much more to uncover, and she clung to the belief that perhaps forgiveness was indeed a bridge, waiting to be crossed, but as they prepared to search for the truth, a sudden knock echoed behind them, pulling their focus from the future ahead. Who was at the door, and what new twists would this new visitor bring? Maria's heart raced as the knock reverberated in the small apartment. The sound seemed to echo James' internal turmoil, a reminder that the outside world was intruding on their fragile space. She stole a glance at him, his demeanor tightened again, the hope they had begun to build wavering like a fragile thread. Are you expecting someone? She asked, trying to mask her uncertainty. No, he replied, moving toward the door with a cautious step. Each footfall seemed to thud against her chest, amplifying the weight of anticipation. As James swung open the door, a rush of air swept through the room, carrying with it a mixture of scents, fresh rain and something sweetly familiar. Standing on the other side was an older woman, her hair drawn back in a tight bun, and a pile of boxes stacked precariously at her feet. There was something warm in her presence, yet an aura of seriousness lingered. Mr. Thornton? She asked, her voice steady like polished wood. I've been looking for you. Who are you? James stepped back, the confusion clear in his expression. I'm Mrs. Cole, your housekeeper. She smiled, but the kindness in her eyes contrasted with the frown creasing her brow. I'm afraid we need to talk about Emily. At the mention of Emily, Maria's stomach twisted. This was the woman who had caused James so much heartache. She stepped forward, beckoning to James to listen. Is she all right? He asked, his voice suddenly sharper, protective. Mrs. Cole hesitated, glancing back as if weighing her words, then stepped inside as if the threshold had been a barrier to the truth. I never wanted to speak out of turn, but I believe you deserve to know the truth about her life, and the choices that led her to you. Maria felt a connection to Mrs. Cole in that moment. The kind of bond forged through silent struggle, an understanding silently shared. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came. She could only watch James as he soaked in the unfolding reality. "What do you mean?" His brow furrowed, and frustration flickered across his features. "Has she been lying to me?" Mrs. Cole sat down, lifting one box to the small coffee table. "Not lying, perhaps omitting. Emily's past is more complicated than you realize. And I wish I could have done more to protect her, to protect you both." The air thickened as she began to reveal snippets of Emily's life, stories wrapped in pain and desperation. Maria could see the gears turning in James' mind, not just anger, but also a creeping recognition that there was more to this than he perceived. "I didn't ask for this," he whispered, running a hand through his hair, tension rippling through him. "But there may still be a chance for both of you," the housekeeper urged softly, her eyes sincere. "If you can listen, if you can find it in you to understand her choices, it may open a new path." Maria felt the weight of that statement hit her like a tidal wave. It wasn't just about confronting Emily, it was also about navigating forgiveness and understanding the gray areas of human choices. James stood still, processing the information, battling between hurt and curiosity. "What are you suggesting?" Mrs. Cole searched for the words, her voice measured and kind. "Every person has a story, a reason for why they've walked certain paths. Emily's choices, while painful, come from a place of vulnerability. It shaped who she is. If you want to move forward, you have to uncover the truth." As the implications of Mrs. Cole's words settled like dust around them, Maria glanced at James, waiting for a reaction, a glimmer of hope or a shadow of despair. James finally drew a shaky breath, looking back at Mrs. Cole. "So how do we find her? How do we piece this all together?" Just then, Maria's phone buzzed in her pocket, an unexpected interruption. She pulled it out and glanced at the screen. Her heart dropped as she read the message. It was a number she recognized but hadn't contacted in ages, and the words were simple yet haunting. "Maria, I need you to come back. There's something you need to see." What did that mean? Suddenly, everything became entwined. The knots in their lives seemed tied tighter than ever, and Maria could hardly breathe, gripped by a mix of dread and intrigue. But with James standing there, the desire to learn the truth about Emily growing stronger, she wondered, was she ready to uncover her own? Maria's hands trembled slightly as she stared at the message glowing on her phone screen. She didn't want to think of what it meant, but the fear brewed again, swirling in her gut like a storm about to hit. The message was from an old friend, a reminder of a chapter in her life that she thought had closed. But it felt like a door was creaking open just when she thought she had finally locked it tight. "What is it?" James asked, his voice low and laced with concern. He stepped closer, eyes searching her face, trying to read the emotions playing across her features. It's from a friend. A really long time ago," she managed to say, her voice cracked under the weight of old wounds. "Is it important?" There was a note of urgency in his tone, but Maria could see the confusion in his eyes, mingled with worry. She was caught between her past and the uncertainty of what it would mean for their future together. She swallowed hard, forcing her mind to focus. "Yes. I think I need to go back." "Back where?" James asked, his brows knitting together further. "To my hometown where everything started to go wrong." The words came out softer than she intended, heavy with unspoken memories and regrets. Mrs. Cole looked between them, sensing the rise of tension. "Perhaps this visit is necessary. Family ties can reveal unexpected truths." Maria nodded, but uncertainty gnawed at her. The words ran through her mind like a film on repeat. "There's something you need to see." What could it possibly be? A part of her wanted to know, another part wanted to run the other way. "I can't just leave you like this," James said. "We were about to confront everything about Emily." "I know, but I have to do this. It feels like I'm being pulled back into a story I thought was over." Each heartbeat felt like a million unsaid things caught in her throat. James's gaze softened, the initial edge of anxiety giving way to understanding. If it's important to you, then we'll figure this out together. But no, he interrupted gently. You don't have to explain. Just promise me that when it's done, you'll come back. Of course. Maria felt a swell of gratitude, the kind that warmed her even against the chill pressing down from the unresolved space Emily occupied in their lives. He was willing to stand by her side, even as shadows lurked in their past. Mrs. Cole cleared her throat, drawing their attention back to her. I believe in the power of truth, she said softly. Your journey back might reveal what you or James need to hear next. As Maria stared into James' eyes, she felt a spark of hope ignite within her. Maybe she would find not only the answers she sought about Emily but also the clarity to understand the complicated weave of her own life. With a brisk nod, she pocketed her phone, her decision solidifying. I'll go, but we need a plan for once it's time to confront Emily. I can't let her past keep tearing us apart. We will, James said, determination hardening his resolve. It's time we move forward. It's time to discover what's hidden beneath the surface. As they sat in determined silence, the knowledge of impending revelations hung in the air, heavy and electric, weaving through their collective anticipation. There was so much left unsaid about the choices that shaped their lives, yet the promise of new beginnings remained. But just as hope sparked anew, the moment was disrupted again, this time by another buzz from Maria's phone. Hesitantly, she glanced at the screen. Another message, this one from a number she didn't recognize. You need to hurry, Maria. The truth is closer than you think. Her heart raced once more. What awaited them on the other side of this evolving chaos? Would they really be ready to face the truths finally surfacing? James, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, I think we're about to find out. Maria felt a chill run down her spine at those words on the screen. The truth is closer than you think. What truth? Who was this person? The questions swirled in her mind, growing heavier with each passing second. Are you okay? James asked, his forehead creased with concern as he reached for her hand. You look pale. I don't know who sent this, she whispered, even as her fingers trembled in his. The urgency in the message felt like a jolt of electricity. Maybe it's just a prank, he suggested, trying to quell the tightening in her chest. He knew how fragile her heart had become around the weight of her past. Pranks don't feel this real, she countered, glancing at Mrs. Cole. The older woman looked thoughtful, her eyes penetrating through Maria. Trust your instincts, dear, Mrs. Cole replied softly, her voice carrying a weight of wisdom that stilled the turmoil inside Maria. If it urges you to confront your past, perhaps it's worth considering. Do you really think I should go? His voice was laced with a mixture of support and protectiveness. James had stood by her through so much, but this felt different, more intense. Yeah, I have to, she said, squeezing his hand. It's like the universe is pushing me back, and I can't ignore it. Whatever it is, I'll face it head on. Then we'll get you there, he said, determination filling his voice now. Let us plan. We'll figure out where to stay, how to get there quickly. Maria felt a wave of appreciation wash over her. His steadfastness gave her strength. Yet, deep inside, a flicker of doubt flickered. Was she really ready to dig deep into the past she had tried to leave behind? As they began laying out their plans, her phone buzzed again. Another message. This time, she braced herself before opening it. If you wait too long, you may lose your chance to uncover everything. Maria? James asked, noticing her expression change. They're right. I can't wait. Her pulse quickened with each word. What else does it say? He was anxious now, as if the words on the screen held a spellbinding mystery they were on the verge of solving. It just says that time is running out, she responded, her mind racing. Every fiber of her being urged her to go, but what would she uncover? Is there a timeline? A reason why you should hurry? James's tone shifted, a protective urgency in his voice. No specific details, she admitted, her stomach twisting in knots. Well, I'll do some research while you pack, he said, rising from the table with renewed purpose. We need to find out more about this sender. As he moved away, Maria felt a swell of fear and excitement, both were garnished with a heavy sense of inevitability. Would this journey reveal something she lacked courage to confront or empower her to finally close that painful chapter? James, she called out, her heart racing. Promise me you won't let this change how you feel about us even if the truth is hard to hear. He turned to her, eyes steady and piercing. I promise. Nothing could break what we have built together, no matter what secrets emerge. His conviction was like a lifeline, yet an echo of uncertainty still rang in her mind. Would they unearth the stones that would either cement their bond or shatter it? With a deep breath, she mulled over what lay ahead. This was more than a journey back, it was about uncovering buried truths, both for herself and for James. How many surprises waited for them? And what impact would they have on their future? As they moved forward, there was no turning back. They were stepping into the unknown with hearts full of hope and the shadow of fear looming in the background. Let us do this, Maria said, her voice steady despite the chaos in her mind. But just then, her phone buzzed yet again. It's another message. She gasped, panic rising within her. Would this one change everything once again? Maria's heart pounded as she quickly opened the message. The screen lit up, and she read the words, her breath hitching in her throat. You're closer than you think. Meet me where it all began. Who is it? James asked, returning to the table, the sound of urgency in his voice mingling with the rising noise in her head. He leaned closer, his eyes searching her face for answers. I don't know, someone from my past. The thought sent a shiver down her spine. The panic she felt earlier returned full force. What if this person knew things she had buried deep? Where did it say to meet? James was already flipping his phone over, fingers ready to tap in a new plan. Where it all began, she echoed, her voice shaky. That phrase could only mean one place: her hometown, the place she had escaped. It feels like a trap, he said, tension creeping into his tone. We can't just rush into this. Maria inhaled sharply. She could understand his concerns, but something deep inside urged her to act. But what if it's a chance to finally understand my past? I have to go, James. I can't run anymore. Okay. His surrender was slow, as if it was taking all of his strength. Then I'll go with you. No, she said, shaking her head almost violently. This is my journey. I need to face this alone. You can't save me from everything. Hurt flickered in his eyes, but he masked it quickly. I don't want to lose you to whatever this is. Please, just let me be there. A battle raged within her. She craved his support, but she also knew she had to confront this part of herself on her own. You don't get it. If I'm going back, it has to be my choice entirely. Just trust me. James opened his mouth to argue, then closed it again, letting out a heavy sigh. Fine. But I'll book a flight and be there if you need me. And I'm going to need you to promise you'll be careful. Promise, she whispered, feeling the weight of his love and concern wrap around her like a warm blanket. With resolve settling in her chest, Maria packed her bag with a combination of excitement and dread. How long had she been waiting for a sign like this? As she folded her clothes, her thoughts drifted back to her childhood, to memories tinged with both joy and pain. When she finished, she took one last glance at her phone. The message still lingered on the screen, almost taunting her. What truths awaited her in the folds of time? The drive to the airport felt endless. Her mind raced, conjuring up images of people she had left behind, the faded photographs of friends and family, the shadows of heartbreak. Would she be able to face them? Or would old wounds open and bleed anew? As the plane took off, Maria took a deep breath, feeling her heartbeat echoing in her ears. She gazed out the window as the ground shrank away, a mixture of nostalgia and fear flooding her senses. The landscape blurred beneath her, and a thought suddenly pierced through. What if confronting this past changes everything? What if I lose myself again? With her heart tight in her chest, she reminded herself that she was doing this to gain closure, not to be consumed. Minutes turned into hours as the plane traversed the sky, and all too soon, they began their descent into her past, the town looming ahead like a familiar ghost. The world below was her former reality, a place filled with echoes of laughter and shadows of pain. Just as they broke through the clouds, her phone buzzed again. Startled, she pulled it out, her heart flipping. One last message. I hope you're ready for the truth, it won't be easy to hear. Fear surged in her gut. What awaited her on the ground? As the tires hit the runway, she braced herself. The journey to uncover the truth was just beginning, and she could feel the weight of it square on her shoulders. What kind of revelation would greet her when she stepped back into the place she once called home? The plane rolled to a stop, and Maria took a moment to collect herself. Each breath felt heavier than the last, her heart racing in her chest. She slipped her phone back into her pocket, the vibrations of messages still echoing in her mind. As she stepped off the plane, the crisp air hit her, igniting memories that lingered like a half-remembered dream. The smell of wet earth and pine sent a wave of nostalgia washing over her. She hadn't been back in years, and yet, this town felt as familiar as the back of her hand. Each step on the tarmac echoed the footsteps of her past. She gathered her bags and headed towards the exit, anxiety creeping in with every stride. The terminal was smaller than she remembered, but a grin broke through her apprehension when she saw the old coffee shop. It had been a quiet refuge during her teenage years. Just one coffee, she whispered to herself as she walked past the familiar, chipped sign. A single taste of safety in a storm of uncertainty. Maria pushed through the heavy glass doors, and as soon as she entered, she felt the warmth envelop her. The cafe was buzzing with the low hum of conversations, the aroma of fresh coffee and pastries swirling in the air. She took a small, deliberate breath. However, the moment was fleeting. She spotted a figure near the back, one she never expected to see again. Clara, once her closest friend, now an almost ghostly memory. Clara looked different, older, more worn, but her eyes held the same spark of mischief. Maria's heart raced, an emotional lump forming in her throat. Should she approach? Could she face the girl who had been like a sister? But before she could make a decision, Clara glanced up, their eyes locking. Maria? It was more of a breath than a question. Clara, she managed to reply, her voice shaky. Clara stood slowly, cautiously moving toward her. I can't believe you're here. Maria felt a mixture of relief and fear surging inside her. I got a message. The words hung between them, heavy with years of silence. I know, Clara interrupted, her face darkening. We all got it. I was just about to leave when I saw you walk in. The old crew is meeting tonight. The old crew? Yes, the ones we lost touch with, well, the ones who didn't abandon us. Clara's tone shifted, a defensive edge sharpening her words. Maria felt that familiar sting of guilt. I can't believe it. After everything that happened. Clara nodded, clearly struggling with the emotions of the past. But behind the surface, Maria sensed a deeper tension. Are you okay? Maria asked tentatively, suddenly wanting to bridge that gap, to understand what had changed. Clara hesitated, eyes flickering away. It's complicated, but it's not about me right now. You showed up just in time. We have to talk. The urgency in Clara's voice sent shivers through Maria. What did she mean? And why did she feel that dread returning, creeping over her like a dark cloud? I don't know if I'm ready for. Maria faltered, the weight of their unresolved past pulling at her. Before she could finish, Clara glanced over her shoulder, her face now a mask of worry. It might not matter if you are. We all have to face the truth together. The fear swirling in Maria's stomach shifted, a mix of panic and curiosity. What truth? What had happened since she'd left? Please, just meet us, Clara pleaded, her eyes locking onto Maria's. Just this once. Maria bit her lip, heart pounding with uncertainty. Could she really step back into that world? What buried secrets would resurface at this gathering? As she stared into Clara's earnest face, the weight of unanswered questions loomed ahead of her. Okay. I'll come. She had to know. But as she stepped out of the cafe, the cool air biting against her skin, another message dinged on her phone. This one felt ominous. You're closer than you think, but some truths are better left hidden. Maria took a deep breath. What had she just walked back into? The answers awaited her. Would she find the strength to face them? The shadow of the coffee shop faded as Maria stepped into the brisk town, her heart racing with trepidation. The cars whizzed by, and the sounds of laughter floated from nearby streets, but she felt like she was wrapped in a blanket of silence. The message still buzzed in her mind, gnawing at her thoughts. Some truths are better left hidden. Her phone vibrated again. It was Clara. Meet me at the old park at 7. Don't be late. She paused, the familiar sight of the park looming ahead, with its tall, swaying trees and trails where she once spent hours with Clara and the rest of their friends. Memories flooded her, laughter, secrets shared under the stars, promises etched in their hearts. But as she stood at the edge of familiarity, a storm of anxiety swirled within her. What if tonight brought back not only the joy but the pain? What if it opened wounds that had never fully healed? Maria took another deep breath and decided to take a walk to clear her mind. She moved toward the path that led to the park, her footsteps echoing softly against the ground. The air was cooler now, the sun sinking low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over everything. Every step felt like a step deeper into a past she thought she had escaped. She passed houses that felt eerily close to the people they once sheltered. A couple was now sitting on a porch, drinking lemonade, the sound of their laughter striking a chord within her. She remembered moments just like that, filled with an innocence that felt far away now. But when she reached the park, her heart dropped. It was quiet, too quiet. The swings creaked softly in the breeze, and the once bustling playground was empty. A knot formed in her stomach. Why am I doing this? She whispered to herself, staring at the worn wood of the picnic table. The truth loomed larger than she had imagined. Did she really want to face Clara and the others after all this time? Did she want to relive the memories that had shaped her, for better or worse? As night fell, shadows stretched, pinning her to the ground. She raised her phone, prepared to turn back, but just then, a familiar figure emerged through the trees. Clara, looking tentative yet resolute. Maria, she called, her voice slicing through the silence. The comfort of their bond flickered within Maria as she stood up straight. Clara looked different but still had that spark, that fierce loyalty stored deep within her. I wasn't sure you'd come, Clara admitted, walking slowly to her side. And I wasn't sure I wanted to, Maria replied, the honesty taut between them. So why now? After all this time? Clara took a deep breath, her expression softening. Because some things can't stay buried. We can't run from our past forever, and tonight there might be answers. We deserve that, don't you think? Maria felt her defenses begin to crack. But what if those answers hurt? We face them together, Clara vowed, reaching out to clasp Maria's hand. You don't have to do this alone. The words lingered in the air. The warmth of their connection, however fragile, made her feel less alone. An ember of courage flickered in Maria's heart, battling the fear that gripped her. As they walked deeper into the park, she sensed more than just a reunion on the horizon, it felt like a reckoning. Was she ready to confront the past? Right then, that felt like the hardest question of all. What if it's worse than we imagined? Maria whispered, unsure if she wanted to hear Clara's answer. It won't be. We have each other, Clara promised, but her eyes clouded with uncertainty. Maria swallowed hard. Could they really withstand whatever truth awaited them? the park was alive with memories, echoed whispers of laughter now mingled with the apprehension of what was to come. With the clock ticking, what secrets would they unearth? And would their friendship survive the truth that had haunted them for so long? As they climbed the hill toward the gathering spot, Maria's heart pounded anew, not just with fear but with a sliver of hope. What resolution awaited them in the darkness? The air was thick with tension as Maria and Clara reached the top of the hill. They could barely make out the details of the old gazebo beneath the dim light of the street lamps, casting long shadows on the ground. Familiar sights, but everything felt altered, as if the park had aged just like them, the laughter fading into the echoes of what used to be. Clara paused, letting out a breath as though a weight pressed against her chest. "You know, I've missed this place," she finally said. "No matter what happened between us, it still feels like home." Maria nodded slowly, still feeling the weight of unresolved questions. Home or a ghost of it? Her voice trembled slightly. Will it ever be the same? Clara's grip on her hand tightened. Maybe it doesn't need to be. Maybe we can create something new, something better. Her gaze flitted away, searching the darkness as if looking for reassurance in the night sky. They approached the gazebo, the wood of its structure creaked beneath the weight of memories. Clara took a deep breath. "I wanted to share something that has been haunting me for years." "Haunting?" Maria echoed, the word sending a chill down her spine. "Yeah. That summer, the last summer we were all together." Clara paused, and Maria saw tears shimmering in her eyes. "Before everything changed. There was something I never told you." The words hung heavy in the air. Maria felt her heartbeat quicken. "What do you mean? What happened?" "I thought I could protect you." "Protect us all," Clara started, her voice thick with emotion. "But it just buried things deeper. And I always wondered if you deserved to know." Maria took a step back, her pulse racing with fear. "Clara, please just tell me." "I found out something about Jake. Before he..." Clara struggled. "Before he left, he told someone I trusted a secret. He didn't want you to know it, and I kept it from you." A wave of confusion washed over Maria. She had expected stories of friendship or past wonders, not this. "What do you mean? What secret? Why would he hide something from me?" Clara hesitated, eyes darting as if the truth sat heavily on her tongue. Then she whispered, "He was hurting too. He was afraid. He thought if you knew, it would break you." "Break me?" Maria repeated, her voice rising. "How could he think that?" The familiar weight of betrayal crept in. "I didn't want to believe it either. But there were things about his past, things he didn't want you to carry." Clara's voice wavered like a flickering flame. "And because of my silence everything changed." The truth hung in the air, palpable and suffocating. Why had she let so much time slip away? Why hadn't she pushed for answers before? The darkness around them seemed to close in, pressing against her chest. "I don't know if I can listen to this," Maria admitted, the walls she built around herself cracking under the pressure. "I didn't come here for grief. I came hoping we could heal." Clara stepped closer, compassion pouring from her. "We can heal, Maria. But we have to face this first together. This is how we break the cycle." A flicker of determination ignited within Maria. "Okay then," but before she could finish, a sudden rustle shattered the stillness of the night, a break in their conversation that sent a jolt down her spine. Clara's eyes widened, a silence washing over them both. "What was that?" Maria asked, her voice barely more than a whisper. As they turned toward the sound, they saw a figure emerging from the shadows. Maria's breath caught in her throat, fear threaded through her veins. Who was this intruder? And what new secrets did they bring with them? The figure stepped into the dim light of the gazebo, unveiling a familiar face that sent shockwaves through Maria's heart. "Jake." "Maria?" he ventured, disbelief written across his face. Clara's grip on Maria's hand tightened, a shared mix of shock and fear connecting them. Maria's voice faltered, memories crashing into her like waves. The laughter they had shared, the dreams that felt so alive, all drowned in the weight of what had been left unspoken. "What are you doing here?" "I got your message," he replied, his tone laden with urgency. "I had to come. There's so much you don't know, but it's too late for excuses now." The tension in the air crackled, blending past hurts and unexpected urgency into one desperate moment. "Why now?" Clara shot back, the protective edge layering her voice. "You can't just waltz back in after all this time." "Believe me, I know," Jake said, his eyes pleading as he stepped closer. "What happened that summer, everything spiraled, and I thought if I could keep it all buried, it would change things. I never meant to hurt you, Maria. But I was frightened of losing you." Each word dripped with regret. Maria felt the ground shift beneath her, the layers of time peeling back, exposing the wounds that had never fully healed. Clara let go of Maria's hand. "Maybe it's time we face those demons together," she murmured. "Together? You both think you can understand the chaos I've caused?" Jake snapped, his voice rising. "You have no idea what I've gone through. I was trying to protect you both." Maria's heart pounded. "Protect us? By hiding the truth?" The words spilled out, fueled by anger and fear, yet beneath that emotion, a flicker of hope ignited. "Maybe we need to confront this, all of it." Jake's expression shifted, a mixture of fear and sadness settling onto his features. "There are reasons why things fell apart, and I didn't want you to carry that burden. You were my everything." "For how long?" Maria's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "You were my everything the moment you chose silence instead of honesty." "Okay, let us not just throw blame." Clara interjected, stepping between them. "This is about more than guilt. We're here to find out what really happened. It's time to peel back those layers. We've carried these secrets for too long." Jake seemed to weigh her words, the tension in his shoulders loosening slightly. "I never meant to leave things unresolved. I thought I was doing the right thing at the time, but you weren't," Maria said firmly. "You were hurting, just like us. But we need to talk now together." The night air turned electric as the weight of unspoken words bore down heavy. "I remember the last night we were together," Jake said, his voice breaking. "I made a decision I thought would protect you. I never meant for it to go this way. If I would have just told you, maybe we would have found our way instead of losing each other." With those words, the walls began to crack, revealing the truths hidden beneath. Each person stood in the dim light, shifted by loneliness, loss, and unprocessed emotions. Maria took a deep breath. "We have to face the hurt, and understand one another again. I want to hear everything." Clara nodded, and even Jake drew closer, slowly shedding their fears. What would arise from those confessions was uncertain, but the air filled with a weighty sense of catharsis. The past would finally collide with the present, shaping the path they would choose collectively, and as stories spilled out under the watchful stars, betrayals unveiled, secrets shared, and wounds began to heal, the bond between them strengthened. Understanding seeped deep into their hearts, conjuring hope where despair once lingered. In that moment, they realized, sometimes confronting the darkest shadows brings light. And perhaps, just maybe, they were stepping into a new dawn, a possibility for rebuilding what had been lost. As they joined together in honest conversation, it became clear that secrets would no longer chain them. Forgiveness aroused a newfound strength, binding them together not as individuals shaped by grief, but as a community willing to understand and survive. "Tonight is just the beginning," Maria whispered, a wave of confidence washing over her. "We get to decide our story from now on." As the night deepened, they knew they would face the truth together, no longer afraid. The cycle of pain could finally be broken. Rediscovering their friendship, their hearts full of newfound resolve, Maria felt hope blossom stronger than ever. Their pasts had shaped them, but it wouldn't dictate their future. Stepping forward, they embraced the promise of healing, willing to chase whatever dawn awaited them. So here's your reality check. You need to subscribe now to our channel, because the next exclusive story might just change your life. Leave a like now to support and feed the algorithm. Every thumbs up counts. And comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. What would you have done? Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You never know who might be needing this moment just as much as Maria and her friends did. Let's spread the message together.